The most dangerous thing you were ever taught about money is that hard work is the path to wealth. Not because hard work is bad, but because you believed it completely, and while you were busy grinding, someone else was building a system that worked without them. Think about the hardest working people you know personally. The ones who never miss a shift, who pick up overtime without hesitation, who sacrifice weekends, sleep, family dinners, and their own health in pursuit of financial stability. Now, ask yourself honestly, how many of them are actually wealthy? How many of them have real freedom? How many are still, after decades of relentless effort, living paycheck to paycheck with nothing but exhaustion to show for it? That's not a coincidence. That's a design. Because the system was never built to reward effort. It was built to reward ownership. And nobody teaches you that distinction growing up, especially if you come from a family where work was survival, not strategy. Rich people are not working harder than you. In many cases, they are working significantly less. What they are doing differently is invisible to most people, not because it's hidden exactly, but because it operates on a completely different logic than everything you were raised to believe about earning, deserving, and getting ahead. The gap between you and generational wealth is not hours logged. It is a single concept that changes everything once you truly understand it. And most people spend their entire lives never hearing it explained clearly. The concept is called leverage, and it is the only real difference between trading time for money and building actual wealth. Here is what that means in plain language. Every hour you work, you get paid once for that hour. Then it is gone. That time cannot be reused, resold, or multiplied. It simply disappears into someone else's bottom line. Your employer then takes the product of that hour, your skill, your energy, your output, and sells it for significantly more than they paid you. The gap between what you produce and what you earn, that gap has a name. It is called profit, and it flows upward, not toward you. Rich people understand this at a cellular level, so instead of selling their time, they build or acquire things that generate income independently of their presence. A rental property collects rent whether they wake up or not. A business serves customers while they sleep. An investment portfolio compounds quietly in the background of their daily life. A digital product sells itself at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday to someone they will never meet. None of this is magic. None of it is luck. It is the deliberate construction of systems that earn without requiring another hour of their life as payment. Warren Buffett made this uncomfortably clear when he said that if you cannot find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. That sentence is not motivational. It is a warning. And the clock started the day you entered the workforce. Here is where most people get this wrong and why the gap between knowing and doing stays so wide. They hear the word leverage and immediately think it requires capital they don't have. A rental property needs a down payment, a business needs startup costs, an investment portfolio needs money to invest. And so they conclude, logically but fatally, that building wealth through leverage is simply not available to people starting from zero. That belief is the most expensive one you will ever hold, because leverage is not exclusively financial. Time can be leveraged, knowledge can be leveraged, skills can be leveraged. Your reputation, your network, your content, your ideas, all of it can be structured to work independently of your physical presence once you understand the mechanics. Someone who records one educational video that gets watched 1,000,000 times has leveraged 30 minutes of effort into something that earns indefinitely. Someone who writes a simple digital guide and sells it online has converted 1 week of work into a product that never stops delivering. Someone who builds genuine expertise and teaches it to others has created value that multiplies without requiring their constant renewal. The wealthy do not have more hours than you. They have simply refused to accept that hours are the only currency available to them. Most people spend 40 years discovering this truth too late. If something is shifting in how you see this, subscribe, because what comes next is exactly how to start building your first layer of leverage from wherever you are right now. Building leverage does not require quitting your job, having startup capital, or taking terrifying risks with money you cannot afford to lose. It requires a shift in how you allocate the hours that already exist outside of work. Start by identifying one skill you already have that someone else would pay to learn or benefit from. Not a perfect skill, not a professional credential, just something you know better than the average person. Cooking, organizing, writing, fixing things, explaining complex topics simply. That skill is a starting point for something that can eventually earn without you. Then spend the next 90 days building one small asset, a simple online resource, a service that can be systematized, a content platform around something you genuinely understand. Nothing elaborate, nothing requires perfection on day one. The goal is not immediate income. It is building the habit of creating things that outlast the effort that made them. Meanwhile, invest consistently in the market. Even small amounts placed into low-cost index funds begin compounding immediately. Compounding is leverage in its purest form, your money hiring more money to work on your behalf around the clock. The wealthy are not more talented, more disciplined, or more deserving than you. They simply started playing a different game earlier, a game where the objective is not to work more, but to build more. You now understand the game. Every day you keep trading only time for money is a day the gap widens. Start building something today, however small, however important.